I admit it. When I see an entirely blank new calendar in January, it looks possible to allocate the right amount of time to balance health, family, friends, career, spirituality, hobbies, finance, travel, learning, volunteering, entertainment, maintaining the house, and still find time to find a chance to pursue new experiences that feed my curiosity, which I call Just Try It. My Just Try It list is time set aside for things I don't know much about or activities lots of people seem to enjoy that I have yet to experience. Recently, my Just Try It approach has prompted me to try dragon boat racing, neighborhood mahjong, group ukulele, an online course with Peter, and a holiday meal of turducken with Creole stuffing. Sometimes this kicks off a new interest, not always. Singing music is the opposite of my Just Try It list. It is a must-do. It has been interwoven throughout my life and filled with positive experiences. I've been in some type of singing group, music program, or choir almost steadily since I was 6. Between practicing and rehearsals, I can easily spend a day a week this way. Almost anything we devote great amounts of time to changes the experience. With music, I find it easy to be focused on each moment, with the next note always unfolding, and yet without a sense of time passing. Do you capture that feeling when you meditate, or practice yoga, or pursue a hobby, read a book, solve a puzzle, hit a bucket of golf balls? Maybe you experience it when you walk in nature or you study the stars. How about when you sit at the beach? This picture was taken exactly 1 year ago, January 1st, 2022, at Red Reef Park. Think about it. It's now 2023, a new year that invites beginning. Where will you invest time and effort to capture more of that feeling? What will you do to make your heart sing? And most importantly, when you do that, what may open up? For me, there is something very different that happens in song. At times, music, and especially singing in a large group, creates a way of experiencing the world that for a few wonderful moments provides a one world, one people connectedness. When it is done with purpose in a place of worship, it has the potential to bring focus to the spiritual power of life that is greater than me, and it illuminates the presence of God in my life. At times, I am moved. For me, this type of singing is pursued with intention, with attention, with learning, practice, and care, to the best of my ability, and often with others. This purposeful approach requires time and effort. Of course, there are folks who somehow have become convinced they just can't sing, or that the language of music is beyond reach, or that there is only one way for them to be involved with congregational music. To that I say, just try it. Let curiosity pull you in and take you to the next step. When it comes to music, and especially singing, it's never too late to begin or to take a new approach. And there are plenty of people here to provide encouragement. My aim today is to share 3 stories from the past year about UU music we sing together. Perhaps these stories will spark your curiosity about how music has helped shape Unitarian Universalism. Maybe when you know more about where our music originated, you'll be more engaged or inspired by the songs we sing together. This might even help you to decide to be more purposeful about how you create music here. My first story is about a song you probably know as Blue Boat Home. Number 1064 in Singing the Journey. It is one of my favorite hymns because the words intersect with sailing and the ocean, and the tune flows along like water. I smile whenever I hear it, and I relate to it very easily. During the first 4 months of 2022, we lost someone every month, all too soon. A cousin who'd been a wonderful mentor and friend all my life, a stepson who'd faced 2 years of frequent hospitalizations and thought he was finally on the mend, a longtime friend's vibrant and healthy husband, and a fun-loving neighbor. 4 people gone in the first 4 months. It was a gloomy start. It was early April, still cold and snowy in northern Michigan, when Peter and I joined with my cousin's large extended family to celebrate his life. He had deep roots in Michigan and many who loved him. The planned events included an afternoon of visitation, a Masonic service, an Episcopal funeral service with communion, a church luncheon, an informal pizza night at the family home, all held over 2 days. The combination of wonderful memories and fresh grief pulled everyone in many directions as we reconnected to parts of the family that had not been together for 2 years due to the pandemic. Everyone was emotionally stretched. On the second day, when we arrived at the church for the funeral service, I did what I often do in any worship setting while waiting quietly at my seat. I browse the welcome flyers, and then I go for the hymnal. First, I quickly check to see if there's a dedication level. What does it say? Then I look at the pages for the planned music to see if I might know it. If there's still time, I'll read whatever's been written in the first few pages. This usually covers religious beliefs and values that drove their decisions about what music to include. Sometimes there's a description of the years of work it took to evaluate possible submissions. It's amazing what can be learned about a congregation, a church, and a religion from a hymnal when you just look at it. That morning, as I scanned the last hymn planned, I thought it might be familiar, but I wasn't sure. So I closed my book and the funeral service began. The ceremony and the message went in deeply, and the service was beautiful. I felt connected and honoring to the presence of my cousin's life and very much in community with the family who I'd been with all of my life who I'd known since childhood. And it came time for communion. Now, it had been decades since I'd received it, and at that moment, in that setting, with those people, it felt true and filled with goodness to do so. So I joined them at the altar to participate. Once we were back at our pews, we sang together the last hymn, Love Divine, All Loves Excelling, my late cousin's favorite. The service concluded, and row by row, we left the sanctuary. That hymn we all sang together was the melody of Blue Boat Home. It was also recognized in the world of music as Hyfrydol, said better by people who speak Welsh. It was composed by a Welsh textile worker and a song leader, at that time known as a precentor, cantor, song leader. And his name was Roland Pritchard in 1830. He composed it when he was 19. He wrote it for a children's music collection. And with just one exception, it consists of only 5 notes in the entire song, all in a major scale. It makes it a very easy tune to sing. I recognized it immediately as Blue Boat Home from our Singing the Journey hymnal. But that is not the first UU use of this wonderful melody. It is also in your Singing the Living Tradition hymnal. There are 3 earlier versions of that music in our other hymnal. So this one has 1, this one has 3 more. The versions are Hail the Glorious Golden City, number 140, Years Are Coming, number 166, and Earth Was Given as a Garden, number 207. Get the idea? Same music, different words, different time frame when they were written, and you can decide for yourself which of these versions you like best, because we have 4 available. And there are more than 100 known to exist in publication. And do not worry, we will not sing all 4 versions this morning. So whenever you sing Blue Boat Home, I hope you'll enjoy knowing this beautiful flowing music is shared by others in their beliefs, by UUs from earlier times. And along with all that, I'll be thinking of the memories of that communal experience, honoring my late cousin with my family, and that will make my heart sing. My next story from 2022 is about music found in Singing the Living Tradition, number 318, We Would Be One. I was brought up in an 800-person member church in Detroit with an extensive music program for children and adults. Beautiful choir robes were provided for every age group. As kids, we learned to follow the seams in the carpet in the sanctuary in order to keep our line straight when we walked down the aisle in time to the music, singing a song we had practiced many times and then memorized. Most kids in this church did it. There were a couple hundred kids in the choirs. The church also is affiliated with a Presbyterian summer camp that has been running for almost 100 years. So there are also several generations of camp alumni who fondly remember fireside camp songs. At that church, a music ministry has always thrived. And I attribute most of my interest in singing and my strong desire for music during worship to the 10 years I spent in their youth choirs. But a lot has changed. The neighborhoods near that church have been in steady decline for decades. Membership has dwindled. There are fewer staff, and the congregation now operates on very thin resources. The same organist who has served there for more than 40 years, and he keeps the Sunday music going and conducts the choir. Last June, we visited there, and we immediately felt warmly welcomed. I was offered a music folder, brought a choir robe, and seated between 2 strong altos who were sure I would remember the musical responses when to stand and sit. Midway through the service, a group of younger members, plus a couple of grandmothers, performed African American music in honor of Juneteenth. 3 high school graduates gave short readings and were presented small scholarships. That Sunday, twice as many people were performing music as watching it, yet they all demonstrated the energy of shared commitment, vision, and change, the youth leading forward and doing what makes their hearts sing. Which brings me to We Would Be One, number 318, in our Singing the Living Tradition hymnal. This music is by a Finnish composer, Shawn Sibelius, from 1900, and is known as the Finlandia tune. Sibelius studied the piano and violin and was mentored by prominent composers at the Helsinki Music Institute, which now carries his name. He composed 7 symphonies and many other works. A major musician. The Finlandia tune for We Would Be One is the same music that we also have on page 159. Once again, and that one's called This Is My Song. So once again, you got a choice. There are 2 versions in this hymnal of that music. Some people may recognize the popular melody from other settings, such as I Then Shall Live or Be Still My Soul. There are at least 60 published versions of that music for hymns. The words to We Would Be One were written by a Unitarian minister, Samuel Anthony Wright, who for more than 50 years led congregations throughout California, Oklahoma, Nevada, Texas, and Alaska. And he also served on the executive board of Starr King School for Ministry. For 25 years, he spent summers in northern Alaska, pursuing his lifelong interest in the Inuit peoples and in ecology. His words to We Would Be One were his only venture into music, and he wrote it for the Unitarian and Universalist youth at their Continental Convention in 1953, 1954. It was that season During this conference, they merged to form the Liberal Religious Youth of the United States and Canada under his leadership. And those actions demonstrated a model for Unitarian Universalists to combine, which eventually occurred in 1961 as we became the Unitarian Universalist Association. So once again, kids leading the way. To me, this music expresses a UU example of shared commitment, vision, and change. Youth leading forward in song at that time, bookended by an incredible lifelong musician and someone who was writing their first words for music. Were they doing what made their heart sing? I say yes, and with great resolve. So today, because our service is about music, we're going to sing music, and then I'll continue on in a few minutes with the last story. So we're going to sing together, "We Would Be One," number 318. My last story from 2022 is about the fire of commitment, which is number 128 in Singing the Journey hymnal, the Teal Book. This story actually begins in 2016 when a member of the UUA staff, Reverend Mary Catherine Morn, followed up on our visit to Boston with the UUA. She was headed to Florida for a few days, so we set up a time to meet at the house. During her visit, we spoke for a couple of hours about the future of Unitarian Universalism and how congregations grow and decline. As a former UU parish minister at several locations, she offered insights I could use to help clarify my thinking. We have a baby grand piano in the living room, so it didn't take long before we landed on the topic of UU music. She told me about her having written the words to a song in one of our hymnals, along with Reverend Jason Shelton, a composer and choral conductor, former Franciscan brother, and at that time, a UU minister. I pulled out my somewhat tattered copy of Singing the Journey hymnal, and she sang and played it on our piano. Before she left that afternoon, she wrote a message on number 2028, which inspired my hope. Fast forward to September of 2022, when I decided to check out UFBR's Zoom worship team meeting as a one-time, just try it experience. I mostly listened until we came to the part of the meeting for discussing music. One of the first songs suggested by our new interim UU minister, Reverend Catherine Tu Ricky, was The Fire of Commitment. I was thrilled she knew of it and that UFBR's music program was finally being talked about more broadly within the congregation. Various people in that Zoom meeting came up with practical challenges to selecting it for the upcoming September services. It is more difficult to sing. We didn't already know it. The choir was just starting to meet again. The piano score requires a lot of skill, so the guest accompanist might not know it. There weren't enough copies of the hymnal. I mean, it went on. And the consensus was we ought to hold off. Well, it's 2023. It's a new year of possibilities. And in a couple of minutes, you will be hearing The Fire of Commitment as the offertory performed by Shawn Malaney and guitar. You've actually already listened to it this morning as the piano prelude performed by Reverend Renwick Bell. So it seems we do have the fire of commitment to find solutions as a congregation, and we are taking the next steps to be able to use it in 2023. Reverend Mary Catherine Morn, who had visited me, has continued to find her ways to do what makes her heart sing. And she now leads the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee as its president. These three experiences have been shared in support of a statement that is on a sign outside one of our UUFBR religious education classrooms. It reads, "In recognition of speaking and writing to shape human thought." To that idea, I add singing. May these stories leave you with a richer appreciation for the heritage of UU music we sing together, and may they help you find deeper meaning in our worship experience.
Set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion beat to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our growing fulfillment, and our future can begin.
Shawn. So I hope you enjoyed getting to hear that, because we didn't pass the basket during it, so you could focus on the beautiful music. Each